part 2 of Sanegiyuu interacting in the manga. This is heavily spoilers, but you don't care because they're being boyfriends. Also, my love of Sanegiyuu just like skyrocketed again. I don't know what's happening. We left off in quite a crucial moment in the manga where this happens. Also, look at this. He's talking about Sanemi here. You're telling me he's not in love? Look at that face. That is a boy in love. And that right there is a rabid raccoon of a man. When did Sanemi become so concerned about Gyu's well-being? When did that happen? Also, this is Gyu's response to Sanemi saying that. Just so you know. Just so you know. Just so you know. Yeah, just so you know. Bet he says that quite a bit, actually. They didn't have to do this, but they did it. They did this. Sparks are literally flying. Look at that intensity. Oh my god. And then this scene. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna scream. Look at them. I've seen this from a few people, so I'm giving the credit to everyone who's ever shared this to me, but this scene right here mimics this scene right here. And what did we just discuss in the first part? The parallels. Oh my god, my handsome boys. Again, and it's these two that survive. Look at that smile. Look at them smile at each other. Look at them smile. Look at them smile at each other. That is so... I'm gonna scream. Now, I gave some really good points in these 2 videos here, but this is all the proof I need. They're on a date. Look at them. They're on a date. They're out to lunch or maybe even dinner together. And why? Sanemi could have just left. He could have been like, peace, I hate you, Gyu. No, They're boyfriends, husbands even. Also, they're staring at each other. Why are they staring at each other if there isn't tension in the air? That tension is love. They're in love. I'm saying it now. Love. Let's talk about all the times that Sanemi and Gyu interact in the manga, because honestly, it's amazing and just solidifies the fact that they are boyfriends to me. I want to talk about this spread right here. The first time we ever see Sanemi, he's just chilling in the crack of the book. But why is his back turned, and why is his back turned to Gyu, of all people? And if you tell me it's because he's supposed to be a surprise, you're wrong, because Igro's also supposed to be a surprise because he was hanging up in that tree waiting for his grand entrance, and I can see his little face right there. If they wanted to keep him a surprise, they could have put him where Guillaume is or Tengen is, but no, they placed him behind Gyu. Do you know why? Enemies to lovers is why. Look at this parallel. The dark, the light, the depressed, the other depressed. I'd like to point out the fact that Sanemi was literally stabbing a small child and Gyu was silent, but the moment that Sanemi is about to be hurt, Gyu's yelling. When do we see Gyu yell? Gyu doesn't express any emotion. Like, look at the concern on his face. Also, we always see this where they're put in 2 different panels and they're facing opposite ways. I don't think this is a coincidence. Even in violence, Gyu is still staring at Sanemi. Again, facing each other. This little display here, so you have Iguro and Kanroji, and they're across from each other, and we've been getting a lot of development on their characters recently, and then we have Sanemi and Gyu across from each other. Very interesting, and someone was like, it's because of size. Why is Shinobu in the back then? Shinobu tiny. She can't see. Forcing them into a panel again. Very interesting. Also, I have a little theory that Iguro, Gyu, and Sanemi were going to be developed a lot more as characters before Demon Slayer got a little rushed at the end. They have a very clear dynamic happening, and it is really aggressive. I know that. But it's more of the idea of misunderstanding than it is pure hatred. And yes, Sanemi is kind of an asshole to Gyu, but he's always so concerned in what he's doing and what he's thinking. Though he's misunderstanding it, he still needs to know why Gyu is doing the things he's doing. Like, there's such a level of frustration that is uncalled for. Like, it's a hyper-focus. Why is he touching him? Why is his hand on his back? Why? Sanemi, explain yourself. Also, the Sabito parallels, it's so obvious. Also, why are they training together? Is this a regular thing? We got a close-up of those damn belts. Drop, ripple, thrust, cold mountain wind. Okay. Tanjiro just interrupted, and I'm kind of mad at him. Sanemi's also mad at him. Like, genuinely, Gyu was having a good time. Not only that, but like a lot of time passed, and Gyu's still on about Sanemi. You're gonna tell me that Gyu is a straight man? Sure. I ran out of time. Here are some more Sanegiyuu headcanons because I think they're adorable. These are all post-Demon Slayer series. Is Sanemi left-handed? Wait, was this a known fact? Because Giyu's using his left hand because he doesn't have a right one. Interesting. Sanemi knows little facts about Giyu and will keep telling random people them to show off, like telling people Giyu's favorite foods or that he smiles when you hold his hand even if he was in a grumpy mood just moments before. Sanemi does this thing that if Giyu ever compliments him, Sanemi just has to outdo his compliment, and he does it in a very aggressive way. For example, Giyu would be like, "I really like your eyes," and Sanemi is just like, "I could drown in your eyes," and then they would have to pull my body out of the lake that is your endless gaze, and both of them just awkwardly stand and then make out. After Tengen learns that Giyu reads to Sanemi every night, Tengen decided it would be a great idea to give Giyu some extra special books to read to Sanemi. Sanemi was not happy with Tengen. And here are a few just modern AU Sanegiyuu. Giyu likes to wear Sanemi's shirts. They aren't oversized enough on him to look like boyfriend shirts, but they still are a little big on him, so it just looks like Giyu doesn't know what size of clothing he should wear. Giyu seems like the kind of boyfriend who just lives at Sanemi's house. Like, even though he has his own place, he's just there 24/7, and he started to do this right away, like early in the relationship. My absolute favorite boys, let's talk about Sanegiyuu with some headcanons. May I also add that it's all post-Demon Slayer series because I just think that's the most adorable kind. Giyu always wakes up a little bit later than Sanemi, and he's always a little bit groggy and disoriented, and he has the worst bedhead. But it's okay because Sanemi comes over, brushes his hair down, and gives him a little kiss. Sanemi made one of the spare rooms in their house a little library for Giyu with built-in bookcases and a rolling step stool to get to the top shelves. It also has a cozy little sitting area where they both like to spend the afternoon on rainy days, relaxing and enjoying each other's company. Giyu bought Sanemi clips to hold his hair back when he's cooking. They're very colorful, and yes, Sanemi picks which one to wear based on which outfit he's wearing. They have to match. Anytime Sanemi is upset, frustrated, or angry and has a huge blow up, he'll go sulk in the corner afterwards. When this happens, Giyu then goes up behind Sanemi and without saying anything will rest his head on his back, just to show that he's there even though he doesn't really know what to say to make it better. Bye! You know what time it is. Here are some Sanegiyuu headcanons, part 4. Also, this is all post-series and pretty sappy, but you know, they're just so cute. Let me have this. Giyu always asks if he can kiss Sanemi. He never just goes with the mood, even when it's so obvious that asking is 100% unnecessary. Sanemi thinks it's kind of annoying, but also pretty cute. Anytime Sanemi goes out and he sees wildflowers, he will always pick them to give to Giyu. He does it pretty often because the first time Sanemi picked flowers for Giyu put them in a vase, and anytime he went to another room, he would take them with him. Giyu just wanted to see them at all times. Giyu and Sanemi have a little place by the river, and Giyu loves to watch Sanemi fish. He doesn't always catch much, and honestly, it would be easier just to go to the market and buy a fish, but both find it so rewarding when they do catch something. And no matter how little the fish is, they make a whole big feast around it and enjoy it together. And lastly, Sanemi used to love the color green, but now he says his favorite color is blue. When asked why, he says for no reason. Definitely not because of a certain someone's eye color that he finds mesmerizing. Here is some Sanegiyuu headcanons part 3 because they're just so cute and I want to talk about them more. One time, Sanemi had noticed a paper windmill in Giyu's estate and asked him where he got it from. When Giyu said he made it, Sanemi then spent the next 3 hours making Giyu teach him, step by step, how to make a windmill. By the end of it, it was pretty bad, but he did make one and technically it worked, and anytime Sanemi felt overwhelmed, he would just play with the windmill, spinning it around. Surprisingly enough, when Giyu and Sanemi go on missions together, Sanemi is the talkative one who has to interact with all the people. Sanemi's actually pretty good at talking with kids and can hold his composure most times when talking with distressed adults, while Giyu stands there in the background, only talking when he is directly asked a question. And the next two are what happened after the events of the Demon Slayer manga, so slight spoilers. Sanemi babies Giyu when it comes to him only having one arm. Giyu has adapted pretty well, but Sanemi still feels the need to grab things out of Giyu's hands and carries them for him, or gets mad when Giyu is reaching to grab something high up, even if he's just grabbing a book from his bookshelf, but Giyu doesn't mind because Sanemi is paying so much attention to him, and it makes him very happy. Giyu loves to read and started one day reading out loud, and Sanemi just was there and started listening. Now it's something they do all the time, with Sanemi getting fully invested in everything Giyu is reading and actively making it a part of their daily routine. Sanemi will even go out sometimes and find books, and even without knowing anything about them, will buy them and bring them back so Giyu can read them to him. Lots of people asked for it, and I had a few more, so let's do a part 2 of the Sanemi and Giyu ship videos. Giyu would always give Sanemi little gifts on special days, like New Year's or birthdays. It's often something little like origami or a charm. Sanemi always acted like he didn't like them in front of Giyu, but he always took them. He kept every single thing that Giyu gave him throughout the years in a little box by his bed, and sometimes when Sanemi was lonely, he would look through them. Giyu doesn't actually get what it means to be invited to things, so he'll often just follow people around and wait nearby silently until they acknowledge him. He does this a lot with Sanemi, and it gets to the point that Giyu actively sits near Sanemi during meetings and gatherings. Depending on the mood will depend on how Sanemi reacts. The next few ones happen after the events of the Demon Slayer series. Look at my boys, they're so cute! Sanemi cooks for Giyu a lot of the time to make sure he gets all the nutrients he needs. If Giyu or Sanemi need to go out for any reason and won't be at home during lunch, Sanemi makes a packed lunch for Giyu and he makes it look really cute. He puts in a lot of effort, but he will never admit it. Giyu started helping Sanemi improve on his reading and writing. One thing they did to help was the two of them started writing little notes and posting them around the house for each other to read. It started off simple with notes like do chores or what's for dinner, and it quickly escalated into just flirting. And the last one, Sanemi adopted a stray dog, and Giyu was really nervous around the dog for a while, till Sanemi made an effort to help both of them be more comfortable with each other. And though Giyu isn't 100% around the dog yet, you can catch them lounging together on the patio outside on a hot day, Giyu reading a book while the dog rests. And yes, this makes Sanemi very happy. Here is some Sanemi and Giyu ship headcanons because I can do whatever I want and I think it's adorable. Slight manga spoilers. There has always been a sabotage to make Giyu and Sanemi work together, whether that's a dual mission or just training. It's a secret rule for all the Hashiras, and if either Sanemi or Giyu point out how much they have to work together, all the other Hashiras play dumb and gaslight them. From day one, Giyu was just staring at Sanemi's face but never said anything. This lasted a week until Sanemi finally confronted him, and Giyu just replied, "He likes his scar," and walked away. For some reason, this is a comment that Sanemi always remembers. Anytime Giyu is out, he actually gets hit on a lot. He doesn't really understand why people talk to him, and it kind of overwhelms him. It's always Sanemi who saves him, and Giyu always asks why because he thinks he's making friends. This just makes Sanemi more frustrated. The next few happen after the Demon Slayer series. Giyu rolls around a lot in his sleep, and it makes it so he's in the weirdest and most awkward position in the morning. If Sanemi's the one who wakes up first, he always pulls him back into his arms, gets the covers over him, and they sleep in a little more. Sanemi always craves physical touch, but selective physical touch. So randomly, out of nowhere, he will just go up to Giyuu and hold his hand. But because Giyuu only has one hand, it makes it so he can do nothing while this hand holding is going on. So he has to rely on Sanemi for things like grabbing things, feeding him, or brushing his hair out of his eyes. And this hand holding can last a while. Sanemi and Giyuu always cook together and bake together and bring whatever they make to Tangen and his wives to have a little dinner. And this is something they do often, but Tangen always teases Sanemi and Giyuu and say they're just like a married couple, which always makes them blush. This is a Sanemi and Giyuu appreciation post for nobody else except for the people who get jaded whenever I mention them. Now I can really talk about their characters and how they intertwine together, and I actually have a video already on that, but that's not about that. This is about how I think they're boyfriends. Let's get started. First off, we have the trope of opposites attract, and I'm a sucker for enemies to lover stories. And yes, they're always rudely interacting, but they are always interacting. And if not boyfriend, why Sanemi always have to touch Giyuu? And honestly, it's hard not to tell that Giyuu definitely has a type, which is aggressive boys with scars. I think he likes to be belittled, but that's something else that we're not going to talk about right now because I'm not here to expose Giyuu. And I'm not just going to bypass this amazing scene. Like, we could have had a really incredible moment if Tanjiro didn't interrupt. I told you, he likes physical contact. And look at how excited Giyuu gets. He's like, oh my gosh, I know something about you now. And I mean, I feel like I could talk and talk about this one panel here. The fact that Giyuu is just so very excited about this plan. I love to think that he's just going to pull it out of his pocket and be like, here you go, we are now best buddies, we can make out now. And the idea that they would just kind of sit in silence and just live their best life is really adorable to me. Also, come on, like look at these little flowers. Boyfriends. And they really didn't have to have this moment, but I mean, this sparks are literally flying. I'm not going to apologize for loving this ship. And the way that they're looking at each other, that's beautiful. And my final thought, if not boyfriends, then why go on date? Why have lunch together? Why look at each other? Why be adorable? If not boyfriend, why?